Welcome to So She Can Speak, a podcast from the So She Can organization.
Celine and I are the co-founders of So She Can and co-hosts of So She Can Speak. Through our podcast, you can learn about social justice issues from the perspective of a marginalized person. Our goal is to inform you on important issues in the world and give a platform for marginalized communities' voices to speak their minds. By listening to this podcast, we hope to prepare you to take the world by storm.
So since it's December, today we're excited to talk about how the holidays are celebrated around the world. With COVID, we definitely know that celebrating will look a lot different this year, but I hope that by listening to today's podcast episode, you'll gain more awareness on other cultures and be able to tackle any issues you face with COVID or not. We'll cover how holidays are celebrated in other countries, talk about our experience and thoughts on Christmas, and finally have a discussion on holidays around the world. Again, welcome to episode number 2, so she can speak about international holidays and celebrations. Let's move on to Africa.
First, we'll be talking about how Uganda and Kenya celebrate Christmas. Christmas is celebrated there since there is a large Christian population, unlike Tanzania, which has some Arabic and Islamic influences. Christmas time is an important time for families to be together, and some people travel back to their ancestral villages away from the cities to spend Christmas with their whole family.
So things have been more commercialized in recent years, so you can see houses and churches are often decorated with colorful balloons, ribbons, paper decorations, flowers, and green leaves. Many Christians in Kenya often attend a midnight church service to celebrate the Church of Jesus Christ by reciting hymns, singing, dancing, and watching plays.
And in Kenya, this time of year is actually the warmest, so some places you can find fake snow in city areas. Large celebrations with family usually occur on Christmas Eve on December 4th to 25th, but they still celebrate, a lot of African countries tend to celebrate until December 26th. And that day is known as Boxing Day. It's a more relaxing, calm celebration where you're still with family, but it's not as much preparation as Christmas Eve or Christmas Day.
So in Kenya, the main focus of Christmas is centered around church, Jesus, indulging in good food, and celebrations with family. Now we'll look at holiday celebrations in Nigeria.
In Nigeria, Christmas is celebrated on December 25th and is both a religious and cultural holiday. Fireworks are often used to celebrate in towns and villages alike. People attend church on Christmas Eve, and they stay up very late into the night partying and celebrating with family. Then on Christmas Day, they also attend another church service early in the morning.
So traditional Christmas decorations are usually decorated homes and churches, although seen not as significant as it can be in Western Christmas culture. Seeing Christmas trees in homes are becoming more popular.
And in Ethiopia, they celebrate Christmas on January 7th, since many Ethiopians are Orthodox Christian, and that calendar celebrates Christmas on January 7th. In Ethiopia, Christmas is called Ghana, I believe, and it's centered around religious ceremonies and rituals that relate to the Orthodox Church.
So many Orthodox Ethiopians fast for 43 days before Christmas, beginning on November 25th to January 7th. On Christmas Eve, January 6th in Ethiopia, many attend various church masses or services continually until the early morning of Christmas.
And on the day of Christmas, many Ethiopians wear white clothing and a traditional garment called a netela. Many men and boys also play a traditional game that has been around for centuries called Gena, which is similar to field hockey. Now we'll be seeing how Latin America celebrates Christmas. So first we'll start with Mexico. In Mexico, they celebrate Christmas from December 12th all the way to January 6th. And from December 16th to Christmas Eve, children perform a story each day telling 9 days full of stories in total. These stories are called the posada or posadas and tell a part of the Christmas story through singing. Each night a posada is performed and a household hosts a posada party.
So at these parties, piñatas are often used for kids to play games and gain sweets. If you're unfamiliar with piñatas, they are hollow paper mache decorations. The piñata is most often in the shape of an animal like a donkey or bird. It's often a ball with 7 strikes protruding that represent the 7 deadly sins. It's beautifully decorated, and there are multiple varieties of how it can look. But the most important part is what's inside. The piñata, normally hung from a ceiling, is hit numerous times by children to try to break it apart. Hitting the piñata as hard as they can, it will eventually break apart and allow the candy and sweets filled inside to spill out and be excitedly collected by kids.
And another important decoration in Mexican households is the nacimiento, or decorations that depict the scenes of Jesus' birth. Figures are most often life-size, and they take up a whole room. Majority of Mexicans are Christian, so highlighting the birth of Jesus is important during Christmas time. Now moving on to how Christmas is celebrated in Brazil. Most people in Brazil go to a midnight church service called Missa de Galo. One tradition that children do is leave a sock for Santa, known as Papai Noel in Portuguese. Then Papai Noel will exchange their sock for a present. Amigo Secreto, or Secret Santa, is a popular way people exchange gifts in Brazil.
So Secret Santa is also quite common in Canada and the US, and is slightly different from the Brazilian version. We'll go into more detail on that later.
Now I'll be talking about the holidays in Asia.
In China, or Asian in general, there aren't many Christians, so Christmas is mainly celebrated for party-like celebrations or spirit, rather than for religious reasons.
Giving apples has become a common Chinese Christmas tradition, and many stores sell apples wrapped in colorful paper. In big cities, malls, and urban areas are decorated with many different Christmas decorations. Now, in Japan, Christmas Day is a more celebration time, like we said, than a time for honoring like religion, and it's still considered a fairly new holiday, so Japan does not recognize Christmas as a national holiday, and many still have to work on December 25th. Christmas Eve is more widely celebrated as it is seen as a romantic time for couples.
So oftentimes couples will spend time and give each other gifts on December 24th. Fried chicken is a common thing eaten on Christmas, and KFC is very busy on this day. So the Japanese eat a Christmas cake called sponge cake, and it looks very similar to the shortcake emoji on iPhone. So it's very soft and fluffy cake.
And another very common thing for Japanese people to do is to visit Tokyo Disneyland for Christmas, where the whole like Disneyland park gets decorated, and it's nice to see. Now in South Korea, they have a large Christian population compared to the countries we talked about and other Asian countries in general. So Christmas is familiar with Koreans. It is an official holiday there. Decorations and gift-giving are common traditions for Koreans who celebrate Christmas. And Santa Claus is also popular, but his outfit can be composed of red or blue.
So in India, Christmas isn't as popular as there is a small amount of Christians in the country. So one of our Soshikan writers, Kalash, is from India and told us about one of her favorite holiday celebrations in India. So I'm just going to read what she wrote. Ganesh Chaturthi, one of the most famous and my favorite festivals, where we go to different pandals with our family, friends, and we worship in the morning and evening and distribute special sweets. But this year it's totally different because of the increase in COVID-19 cases in India. The public Ganesh Chaturthi festivals were cancelled, and it was really sad because as long as she could remember, she never missed a chance to go to these different pandals with her friends. There are many festivals like Krishna Jamashtami or Gopal Kala, Navratri, Dasara, where people used to come together and celebrate, but this time it was not possible. In November, they celebrated Diwali, and it was a whole new experience for her. But it doesn't stop them from enjoying festivals. They did online shopping and called each other on Zoom and spent quality time with family. So that was Kailash's experience with these celebrations in India. Now we can move on to the Philippines. So in the Philippines, Christmas is extremely popular and celebrated as the Philippines has the largest Christian population in Asia. Many places start showing signs of Christmas around September. Formal Christmas celebrations start on December 16th, as Filipinos will attend church services for 9 days before Christmas.
Many Western Christmas traditions and decorations are also used, like having Christmas trees, giving cards out, things like that. And there is also a special Filipino Christmas decoration called the parol. From Japanese influences, the parol is a unique Filipino decoration that is made from bamboo and special Japanese paper that forms a lantern that looks like a star. And me, including some other writers from Soshikan, are from the Philippines, so I think it's cool that we got to highlight in today's episode. Now moving on to Indonesia. Indonesia has the largest Muslim population in Asia. Even though close to 90% of Indonesians are Muslim, there's still over 20 million Christians who celebrate Christmas in the country. Artificial Christmas trees are often put up, but Indonesians also create their own unique Christmas trees that are made out of chicken feathers and can be sold all around the world.
So it is said that the Home Alone series is one of the most popular TV series broadcasted on Indonesian national television during this kind of year. Besides Home Alone, on TV you can also find Christmas music concerts and the annual celebration event of the Indonesian government organizes for people to enjoy.
And one of our team members from Soshikan, Devasya, is from Indonesia, and she told us that holidays are a time most people around the world, including her in Indonesia, spend. Holidays are times where we can spend as much time as we want without being bothered by other things, and as far as she knows, the Indonesian people are diverse in spending their holidays. Probably the main thing to spend time with family and friends, among others, she says, is to go to shopping centers, stay at home and spend time with family themselves, have pajamas parties, gather with family and friends to watch movies, go out, have lunch or dinner with friends or family, and a lot of people decide to go abroad to spend time with their family and friends out of town. And it is usually a common habit of the Indonesian people to visit their relatives' house during this holiday celebration time.
So in Singapore, Christmas is widely celebrated and very popular, even though there aren't many Christians in the country.
Christmas is celebrated with illuminating Christmas lights, and Singapore has its own Christmas theme park called Christmas Wonderland for people to visit. Christmas trees are commonly put up and are usually decorated with candy, ribbons, and teddy bears.
Now let's move on to Australia.
Dashing through the bush in a rusty Holden ute.
In Australia, Christmas comes towards the beginning of summer holidays. Children have their summer holidays from mid-December to early February, so some people might even be camping at Christmas. This is because Australia is in the southern hemisphere, so their seasons are opposite to, for example, the US and the Canada. So when we have winter, they'll have summer and vice versa. Because it's so hot at Christmas time in Australia, there are often massive bushfires across the country.
And they have many similarities to British, Irish, American, and Canadian traditions, like having Santa Claus and singing traditional Christmas songs. Now moving on to how Christmas is in Turkey.
So in Turkey, people don't celebrate Christmas or the birth of Jesus, but they celebrate the coming new year with new hopes and wishes and a happy atmosphere. As December arrives, the streets and cafes are decorated with lights and Christmas trees, giving people the opportunity to feel as if they are home for the holidays. One of our writers at So She Can Nahir is from Turkey. So she told us that in Turkey, a lot of peoples are Muslims, so Christmas is not celebrated, like we said, but most of the people still put Christmas trees in their houses and presents underneath. The main tradition is that people meet and have a big meal with the ones they love on New Year's Eve. They give presents at that night. Even though Christmas is not celebrated, there is still a positive and joyful energy. Now let's move on to Europe.
So first with Spain, most people in Spain go to the midnight mass called La Misa de Gallo, similar to how it is in Brazil. And it's called the Mass of the Rooster because the rooster is supposed to have crowed the night that Jesus was born. And Christmas Eve is known as Noche Buena. The days before Noche Buena, children might take part in Piden Aguinaldo, where they go and sing carols around their neighbors, hoping to get some money.
So popular desserts and sweets include the mazapán, made out of almonds, sugar, and eggs, turrón, made out of honey and toasted almonds, and polvorons, made from flour, butter, and sugar.
This is also very similar to like desserts that you can find in the Philippines. Since Spain conquered the Philippines, I think that those sweets can also be found there.
So New Year's Eve is called Noche Vieja, or the Old Night, in Spain, and one special tradition is that you eat 12 grapes with the 12 strokes of the clock at midnight. So each grape represents a month of the year. So if you eat 12 grapes, you are said to be lucky in the new year.
Now in Germany, a big part of the Christmas celebration is Advent. Several different types of Advent calendars are used in German homes, as well as a traditional one made of a card that are used in many countries. There are ones made out of a wreath or fir tree branches with 24 decorated boxes or bags hanging from it.
So Christmas trees are very important in Germany. They were first used in Germany during the Middle Ages. And if there are young children in the house, the trees are usually secretly decorated by the mother of a family. The Christmas tree was traditionally brought into the house on Christmas Eve.
Now in Italy, one of the most important ways of celebrating Christmas is the nativity crib scene. It is a Christian tradition where there are objects representing the birth of Jesus. It has a more specialized sense referring to seasonal displays, either using model figures in a setting or reenactments called living nativity scenes, in which real humans and animals participate. The scene can include the infant Jesus, his mother, Mary, and her husband Joseph, as well as sheep, angels, and much more.
So the city of Naples in Italy is world famous for its nativity scenes. These are known as the Presepi Napolitano, meaning Napolitan nativity crib scenes. Having nativity scenes in your home has become very popular in the 16th century, and it is still popular today. Before that, only churches and monasteries had these scenes. So nativity scenes are traditionally put on the 8th of December, but the figure of the baby Jesus isn't put into the crib/manger until the evening or night of December 24th. Now let's move on to US and Canada.
So in the US, Christmas is a holiday celebrated by Christians, but many celebrate Christmas just to have a good time, give gifts, and be with family.
So we asked one of our So She Can writers, Quinn, to give her personal opinions and experience with Christmas.
Quinn said she was raised Catholic and always celebrated Christmas, but now, even though she's not as religious, she'd say the holidays are used for her and her family and friends to try to spread joy and exchange gifts. In Minnesota, in the United States, they have lights you can go see, and that's what she plans on doing this year. Her and her friends do Secret Santa every year, and it's a way for them to give gifts without having to spend so much money as teenagers. Despite being non-religious, she thinks the holiday season is great for her to be able to find happiness in winter, which is typically a hard season for a lot of people.
Same here. me and my class, we usually also do Secret Santa. So how it works is that um, you'll write everyone's name down and put it into like a little basket or any little bowl, and then you'll pick a piece of paper, and then, for example, I got Alyssa, so I'm supposed to make a gift or buy a gift for her, but I'm not supposed to let her know that. So on Christmas or whatever day you choose to give out the gifts, then she'll receive the gift from me. And I think it's just like a really nice way because some people don't have their families home for the holidays, so it's just a nice thing to do as friends.
And my friends also do play Secret Santa a lot. And I feel like my friend group has had a lot of fails because someone always writes like who it's from, and then we're like, oh no, you're not supposed to write who it's from. Like you're just supposed to you're supposed to guess who you got the gift from. But that's always like funny to see. And I mean, we can't really do that as much this year, but we're still trying to keep like traditions alive. So actually in one of my clubs we are playing like a version of Secret Santa, but it's like COVID safe. And so what we're doing is everyone wraps a gift, and then all together on Zoom, we'll go in order, and a person will just pick a random gift based on the wrapping and like on the person who like is gifting it. So you don't know what's inside at all. You just like pick a random gift and they'll drop it off at your home. But it's like a nice way to like still be in touch with people, be thoughtful, and be safe.
Here, because it is quite cold, we do get a lot of snow, so we do go sledding a lot at the park, so you'll see like a lot of families go there. We also have a Christmas parade, so there's like a bunch of floats and bands that are marching down like this really big street. I was in it one year, and because it's very cold and the road is really long, it does get a bit boring once you're like on the float. But I think it's fun to see all the people and you get a wave to everyone. I personally like giving gifts more than receiving, because I think it's like fun to like, for example, if I were giving a gift to my mom, I think it's like fun to think of different ideas and like wrap it up and make it like secret.
I I mean, I would say I like them pretty equally because getting gifts is nice, but I love giving gifts to people. And my family, I mean, we're not like pranksters, but a lot of times we've wrapped gifts in like funny ways. So one time my mom thought she was getting like this coffee pot that you can use in the shower. So like it makes coffee for you in the shower and you can like drink it while you shower or something like that. And we were like, oh my god, that's so cool. But it turns out it was a fake box, and you can actually buy that box somewhere. But it's a fake box, and inside was just like a water bottle and like a gift card. Um, but another trick that my family played, which was kind of mean, is my mom really wanted a Surface Pro for Christmas. And I don't know why she believed it, but we literally just we got a cereal box, like the Honey Nut Cheerio cereal box, and printed like the Surface Pro images on it. So it looked nothing like the real box, because it looked really like cheap and fake. But we made it heavy so that it felt like it was a Surface Pro, and she was like, oh my god. And then inside it would just end up being like water bottles and a necklace. So yeah, I felt really bad because she was really sad about that, but we made up for it because her birthday we got her an actual Surface Pro. But yeah, those are just like things we like doing in my family. Like whenever there's super important gifts, it's like tradition for us to wrap it in a bunch of like clothes so that you think you're getting clothes for Christmas, but it's actually like something cool inside. So
Yeah, that's fun.
like
In middle school, since there wasn't like many assignments or much, we would just have like a day where we would just like eat candy and like watch Christmas movies because we didn't really have anything to do. So it was really fun.
what about like Christmas lights? I know that it's like a big thing in the US to have like extravagant Christmas lights, or you always see like Christmas lights on in public places.
Yeah, I think here it's also the same thing. There are like a few houses that don't do it, but like when you drive down like the street at night, it's like really, really pretty because you can see families putting on their lights. I think there's a park, and then once you drive past it, there's this house. Like their whole house is decorated with like lights. They have like this huge Santa and reindeer thing that's like set up with like elves, and it's like a whole thing like filled with light, and I think it's like super super fun.
Yeah, I know people love just driving around like the neighborhoods that do have like a lot of lights and seeing like what all these people have like put up. Um, but I think Christmas lights is pretty like universal too. In many countries you can find that they have like Christmas lights up. Did your family already start like have like their Christmas decorations up?
Usually my brother would also come home for Christmas because he works in like New Zealand. So yeah, we'll also talk about how COVID affects Christmas this year, but due to that, I think we'll just like celebrate online.
So I know that this year definitely with COVID holidays are going to be looking a lot different, but there's still so much to be happy and celebrate. I know that like giving gifts is still something you can do. Like online shopping is super prevalent nowadays and it's super easy to do, and I work in a store actually, and people still shop in store all the time and ask me like what to buy. So I think like this pandemic isn't stopping us from like trying to be thoughtful and give gifts, but I would recommend you to like buy gifts online. um, and there is a large need to be together, but we should ultimately keep safety in mind. How, Celine, how are families like going to celebrate holidays or Christmas together this year?
You can definitely do it virtually, like on Zoom or FaceTime. So maybe your family's around the world, living around the world, and instead of, flying and making it more dangerous, it would definitely be much more safer to do it virtually. And, it's a gift to be healthy, so you wouldn't want like your family members to be sick. Um, so yeah, that's definitely a nice way to celebrate together. And I know that my brother, he lives in New Zealand and he works there, so like as I said before, he won't be coming home this Christmas, but we'll probably just call and like have a nice time online.
And if you do have to travel, just make sure that you're wearing a mask, taking all precautions, wash your hands as often as possible, and like having as little contact with people. Um, yeah, because it's better to be safe during this holiday season. Um, but even though we might still be like all virtually apart, we're still like together and like celebrating and having the same energy, being caring of each other. And now we will move on to how other countries around the world compare to the US and Canada, or how they compare to each other, just so we learn how like the similarities that we all share across the world. Like the US and Canada, many other countries also have the tradition of like Santa Claus. Like we mentioned, in Brazil, it's called Papai Noel. In Kenya, they say Father Christmas. And I think Santa does like represent someone like giving gifts and being this like great person who like rewards children and things like that. In your family, do you like personally like believe in Santa or like hold Santa to a high standard, I guess, or like, yeah.
I know like when I was small, I think up until third grade, I was very, I believed a lot in Santa. I think a really funny time was we immigrated from New Zealand to Canada when I was like 3 years old. So I think like around that time, my parents weren't like very familiar with this. So my first Christmas gift, I think they put it into a garbage bag. And then I was like, why is my Christmas gift in a garbage bag? I was very, very confused. And then my mom was just like, Santa ran out of like wrapping paper. So you had to put it into a garbage bag. But I think even though like I know Santa's not true, we still try to like, when like my friends' younger siblings are there, we'll like, oh, how's Santa like leave out Christmas? gifts for them, or like cookies and milk for Santa and his reindeer. So yeah.
But just really quickly, I wanted to share what another writer on our Sochiken team, her name is Sobaya, she's from Canada, and she also said that Canada celebrates Christmas, but it's also super multicultural. So for her personally, she celebrates Eid, and she's a Muslim, and they often go to friends and families and eating sweets and get dressed up with like special clothing. She also said that where she lives, there are lights everywhere, and it's very like Christmas and New Year's are very like widespreadly celebrated. And in Brampton, she said there's a large Hindu and Sikh population, so they celebrate like Diwali around this time, and there's a lot of parties and fireworks, so you can really see a big variety of like how people celebrate at this time. But I think it's so cool. Like it's kind of like a good way to end 2020 with all this like happiness and joy. So I think that's really nice. Yeah. Okay. And we'll talk about North Korea a little bit, and I was like researching about this, and I thought it was interesting how North Korea, like, you can be a Christian, but you can't openly celebrate Christmas because you'll be punished. Like, you can get sent to prison if you like show that you're doing a Christmas holiday thing. So I thought that was interesting. But I think another thing, a universal thing, is like the importance of food and family, but food especially. Every culture has their own like unique food that they tend to like eat on Christmas or indulge in, and I think that's just really cool to notice. For example, in Singapore, like eating Western foods like turkey or turkey or beef like is very popular, but they make it more Singaporean by adding their own spices.
And in Nigeria, chicken and hen are traditional Christmas foods. So those are just some examples of how, food is important.
And it really helps like bring people together. I think also like in a lot of countries, food is a way to show love. Like, when like people are always giving you food on their plate or like insisting that you eat, it's just because like they really care for you and love you, and I think that's really sweet. But yeah, so food is really important for holidays at this time.
And there's also a big focus on religious aspect of Christmas in many countries outside of Canada in the US. So like attending church services or nativity scenes.
Like learning and researching about how all these countries celebrate Christmas, it's so cool to see all the different ways people celebrate this holiday or holidays, but also like all the like common things that we share with each other, and just knowing that like someone around the world might be doing something similar to what your family is doing. It's just really cool to know. With that concludes this podcast episode. Celine and I are so happy and excited if you listen to the end. This topic is something we're both very passionate about talking about, since it's really important to learn cultures and how things are in other countries. And we really hope that this holiday season, even though it is a lot different than it is in years past, that you still are happy and have a great time with your loved ones.
Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this episode, and stay tuned for our next one. And also make sure to follow us on Instagram, as we post weekly informal posts on current issues in the world. All links will be in the bio, and yeah.
See you next week. Bye.